Welcome, guys, to the Balking Dead, where there's no sleep for the fucking wicked, guys. And I'm your host, Sharpie's Bets, the prop junkie himself, guys. So, little bit of intro into what we're going to do, guys. We're going to be attacking the afternoon night games, depending on where you're at, Eastern, Western time, the 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to attack those games in a different type of way. You got lots of shows out there. They're going to break them down for you in the ways you're used to. But this is a way for props. This is the way to attack the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. If you don't know, I dig into the numbers as much as possible, and I got to trust what I read and what I believe in. So, when we get into this, we're only going to be talking about hitters versus pitchers stats if they're there. We're only going to talk about the pitchers versus these hitter stats. We're not going to talk about everybody. We're only going to talk about them if their numbers are there. So let's get into this, guys. First game is going to be the Mets at Nationals. And the two pitchers got going. We got Tyler Megill, guys. He's only pitched 6 innings this spring. He's got a 0 ERA, but I don't expect him to go more than 75 pitches, which is roughly about 5 innings. The wind is projected to blow out for about 9 miles per hour, and then it's supposed to switch once about fourth, fifth inning comes in. He has a 4.91 ERA, guys, versus the Nats, and a 1-1 record with 13 strikeouts in 11 innings. Miguel is a strikeout per inning, a little over strikeout per inning on the road. So his strikeout prop is where it should be. It's at 4.5, and he's projected to go about 5 innings. So I don't see no typical straight value in that. Then let's get into Patrick Corbin, guys. A lot of people are going to be looking to Corbin. And I get it, but I'm not fucking one of those guys. That's not for me, guys. He sucked ass last year. I get it. He was not good. But in September, he did have a 3.8 ERA, and that was his best month yet. And this spring, he has a 0 ERA and 9 innings with 10 strikeouts. Okay, it could be a fluke, but it's not, guys. His fastball's up 3 miles per hour. He's now at his miles per hour where he was at in 2017 through 2019 when he was a dominant pitcher. So I myself am going to stay back and watch Corbin, but I expect good things from Corbin. I can't hate anybody looking at the hitter props on this side, guys. There is nobody on Washington who has more than 6 at bats versus Miguel. So we're going to just skip right through that. We're going to get to the numbers that these Mets have versus Patrick Corbin. Straight up disgusting. Pete Alonso's 10 for 30 with 4 home runs, 7 RBIs. This spring, he's batting only 233, but he's got 1 home run and 4 doubles and only 23 at bats. So the power's there, guys, just his average ain't. JD Davis, he's 10 for 29 lifetime, 4 home runs, 6 RBIs versus Corbin. He's batting 283 this spring and 24 at bats with only 1 home run. So the average is there. The power hasn't caught up, but he's got great numbers versus Patrick Corbin. Francisco Lindor is also 5 for 15 versus Corbin, and he's coming in red hot, guys. He's batting 294 and 32 at bats with 4 home runs and 2 doubles. If I was to look towards a player in this game to play on, I would be looking at Francisco Lindor just because how hot he's coming into this. But then again, like I said, I have my own doubts. So on to the next game, guys. We're going to go straight into this. Reds and Braves. They're Reds at Braves. Let me get to that. My bad, guys. We're going to get I'll be way better at this come tomorrow. Sorry, hang in there. I suck sometimes. All right, guys. We got Tyler Mahle versus Max Fried. Okay, Mahle has a 3.38 ERA this spring with 14 strikeouts and 10 innings pitched. No one on the Braves has seen him more than 10 times. That's always an advantage, Mahle. So last year, Mahle was dominant on the road with a 2.3 ERA and a little over than a strikeout per inning. His strikeouts right at 4.5. I don't see him going much more than 5 innings myself, so that right there is not much value. His fantasy score, to me, there is some value in. I think he's going to go 5-6 innings. He can get the quality start, which is 4 points, and his ERA, like I said, is a 2.33 on the road last year. So I've got to trust that he's coming in with a good spring training and he's ready to rock. Next guy on this is freaking Max Fried, guys. Max fucking Fried. World Series champion, beat my fucking Dodgers. They finally got past the hurdle and the hump. That's okay, guys. He has an ERA of 6+ this spring in 7 innings of work, and 11 ERA in the month of April last year. Yikes. Not bueno. No bueno. But that's why you could tell in the line a lot of monies came in on the red side because they're seeing that stuff too. But you got to look into that, guys. The year before that, he had a 2.43 in April. The Braves have a premier bullpen, so the win should be there. And the Reds struggled mightily last year versus lefties and got rid of their 3 best fucking players, as in Castellanos. They got rid of Winker and they got rid of Suarez. Suarez maybe wasn't up to par statistically, but he was the heart and soul of that team. So what? They got Jonathan India left. I'm not buying it. They were atrocious versus lefties last year, and Max Fried is a legitimate freaking lefty. So none of these hitters in this game have seen the pitcher at all more than 10 times. So there's no really hitting numbers to mention. There is an honorable mention. Marcell Ozuna has 1 home run, 6 RBIs versus him, 3 for 9 lifetime. So he's batting 333 in a very small sample size, but he's having a terrible spring trading, batting only 188. So I wouldn't be looking at Marcell Ozuna, but Prizepicks does offer no run first inning, yes run first inning. And if I was to bet any of these games, no run first inning, it would be this game. I'm already on this personally on the under 4.5. So I expect a very, very well tight pitched game in this game right here. Next game out, guys. We are going to almost my hometown. We're going to go to the Houston Astros versus the Los Angeles Angels. All right. We got Framber Valdez versus freaking Jose Ohtani, Jose Ohtani. Ooh, I smoked way too much weed before this show. But let's get into freaking Framber Valdez. He only threw 3 innings this spring if you look at his box score. But he threw a minor league game also. They expected some rain, so they had him pitch a few days earlier in the minor league. So he is ready and should be ready to go for 5+ innings. Valdez is 2-0 lifetime versus these Angels with an ERA of 3, 12 strikeouts, and 12 innings. His splits last year, he had a 3.45 on the road and a little bit over a 4.3 at home. So he technically was better at on the road. You're getting Valdez here on the road at a K per 9. I don't see there's much value there, guys, because I think these Angels get to him personally. Ohtani, on the other hand, has a 4.76 ERA this spring and only 5.2 innings with 9 strikeouts. You read into the reports, he's healthy and ready to go for a full workload and expects a full workload his first game out. 5.5 strikeouts seems kind of damn nice for a guy whose K per 9 is 10.7 at home. And lifetime versus the Astros, he has 1 good game and 1 shitty game with no more than 12 at-bats versus him. Ohtani's splits were huge and major last year. He had a 1.95 at home and a 5+ on the road. We got Ohtani at home with a team that hasn't had more than 12 at-bats versus him. That's a big advantage in my eyes. Ohtani. So 5.5 strikeouts seems kind of nice. I know a lot of people are high on the Angels bullpen this year. I've got to fucking see it. I've seen people spend money on a bullpen and it not work out. Look at the Philadelphia Phillies last year, just to mention one of them. So just because you went and spent some money, Tepera, big pickup. But everybody else, we'll see. We'll see. I got my eyes on you, Mr. Angels. Let's get into the hitting stats in this, though. There's a few people who have decent numbers versus these guys. David Fletcher is 8 for 28, batting 286 versus Valdez with only 1 strikeout and batting a crazy 350 this spring in 20 at-bats, and his career average in the spring is 317. So you got David Fletcher, who's going to lead off at the top of the damn lineup. I don't think Prizepicks is offering him, but that's a prop that I'd be damn near looking at to bet myself, because David Fletcher's hot, and he's the guy that's going to freaking start this engine humming. That's why I personally am afraid of taking any shots on Valdez today. Joe Adell, they're also not offering on Prizepicks, but this is maybe another prop I'd look at. This is the first spring he's coming in batting over 300. Every other spring and every time he's came in, this guy's not been humming. This guy's humming, and this might be the time to roll the dice on what was the number one prospect in baseball, guys. So he's got a 3 for 10 lifetime versus Valdez, and like I said, he's batting 300 this spring. If now's the time, if any time is now, now is the time for fucking Adele, guys. Let's get into freaking Rendon. His fantasy score I was looking at over 6.5 on Prizepicks. He's batting 510 at bats versus Valdez with an OPS of 1,400. Like nuts. This guy's hitting for power, guys, versus him. He's batting 292, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, and three walks, 860 OPS this spring. He's hitting this spring, and he's got really good numbers versus him. Granted, it's only 10 at bats. I like to see 15 or more, but Anthony Rendon is fucking special, guys. Everyone wants to talk about Trout and Ohtani. Rendon's a fucking beast, guys, and he could fucking rake, and he's super disciplined, and he's showing he's ready to go in my eyes. So sign me up for some Rendon if you're asking me. Jared Walsh, guys, very, very small sample size, batting 500 on only 7 at bats with an 813 OPS, and he's batting 313 this spring. The only thing that worries me about playing Jared Walsh, and you're going to look at these numbers and be like, man, he's batting really good. This guy's batting freaking nuts versus this guy. He struggled versus lefties last year. Really, really bad, guys. He batted 170s versus lefties and 333 versus righties. So in the minimal 7 at bats, I just got to think the guy might have got lucky because the numbers really tell me you can't hit lefties, bro. So my eyes, I'm going to lay off of him. But there is one guy, if I didn't mention, I'd probably get hung by Maxwell fucking Smart. Jose Altuve, that little cheating little bastard who could probably steal all of our women if he wanted to. Sad to say, that little 5'5", whatever. Straight up, though, he's batting 333 and 12 at bats versus Ohtani with no walks and 2 strikeouts. This spring, he's on a freaking tear, batting 348 with an OPS of 882. Both are higher than his average career spring training numbers. Jose Altuve's coming in hot, guys, and that's a guy you can never go wrong backing him 162 games out the year. Kyle Tucker, he's another guy, guys. Small sample size versus Ohtani, batting 405 at bats with a home run. But he's been off to a very slow start this spring with a measly 227 and 22 at bats and a career spring training of 303 average. So he's way off his career spring training numbers. And this is like a COVID year, guys, with spring training. They did not get a full spring training. Take that into effect with pitchers. They're not going to get the freaking leash taken off of them. It is what it is. And Ohtani last year versus right-handed batters had a 178 batting average against. And versus left-handed batters, he had a 235. The league average was 244. So good luck rolling the dice fading Ohtani, guys. I really favor that over 5.5K prop. I'm just worried about them limiting his workload on the amount of innings he's pitched. Next game, guys, and the last game. Padres at D-backs. Ooh, boy. We got Hugh Darvish. Let me straighten that up a little bit. Hugh Darvish, boys, coming to town, and we're going to freaking cash you some props. All right, dude. If you look at it, Darvish sucked ass last year versus Arizona, and a lot of people are going to look into that. He had a 6.65 ERA with 32 strikeouts in 23 innings and 5 games of work. Trash, though, on that ERA side. But if you look into it a little more, he had 2 solid games where he pitched 7+ innings, 6-7 innings, and dominant, just got no run support. He did have a few bad games, and that's life. When you're facing a team 5 times in a year, you're going to have some bad games. He was also having a bad year last year. He was not good, and he was having mechanical problems and location problems. This freaking spring, he's changed his pitching mechanics, and he's throwing from one arm slot only, and it's worked out so far. He has an ERA of 2.38 with 14 strikeouts and 10 innings. So that to me is bet on. And also Bumgarner, sad to say, is crazy bet on in this situation. And you can see a lot of monies came in and on Arizona, and I can't hate it. You're not going to see me bet in Arizona, but Bumgarner has a 5.09 ERA last year in 3 games versus the Padres. That's bad. But if you look into it like most cappers do, 2 games were quality starts where he went 6+ innings, giving up 3 or less runs, and he just got no run support, and he had one of the worst bullpens in baseball last year. So you can't fault the guy for that. So Mad Bum is Mad Bum. So, and he averaged a strikeout per inning versus the Padres last year in 16 innings of work. He averaged only 7.4 strikeouts per 9 the rest of the year, and that was his year strikeout. So the Padres swing and miss. The only Padre who had really, really good numbers is not in the lineup. Tatis is out for the next few months. So I think Bumgardner can actually be a little tricky play. When I look at his strikeouts, I don't have the balls, but the numbers say yes. Would I look at his quality start? Would I look at his fantasy score? The numbers say yes. I don't have the balls. This is a decision you're going to have to make, my guys. But let's get into some of these batting numbers. David freaking Peralta. I think this guy is a must play, guys, and it is what it is. 9 for 20 with 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, career versus freaking Darvish. Okay, career. Now tell me something better. He's batting 323 and 31 at bats with 3 doubles and 5 home runs this spring. He's fucking raking. David Peralta's raking. He scared me a wee bit, so I cannot hate that one freaking bit. Kettle Marte, he's batting 462 lifetime and 13 at bats versus Darvish. This spring, he's batting 262 and 32 at bats with 0 home runs and 1 double. So the power numbers aren't there. The average is so-so. You can't hate him for the average, but right now he ain't caught up to major league pitching, in my opinion. Christian Walker also has good numbers versus freaking Darvish. 3 guys in here, guys, with decent numbers, and that's what's crazy. He's 5 for 15, batting 333 with a home run and 2 RBIs lifetime. This spring, he's batting 364 and 33 at bats with 4 doubles and 3 home runs. Oh my God, guys! You hear this is why the freaking money has crashed on Arizona. Straight up, like if you could just read these numbers on these players and look at the box scores, some of these guys got good numbers and they're raking. So, Will Myers, he's batting 267 and 30 at bats with 5 home runs, pretty much averaging a home run every 8 at bats versus Bumgardner. Except the only bad thing about Myers is this spring training in 21 at bats, he's batting a measly 129 with 15 strikeouts. That goes towards Bumgardner's K prop too. 15 Ks and 21 at bats. Holy moly guacamole. I'd show you my guacamole tattoo, but I probably shouldn't be taking my shirt off on this show. I've been told not to a few times, but maybe later. But I'm not looking at playing Will Myers myself. He's looking at a fade to me. Cronenworth, he's got a small sample size, 4 for 7 with a home run and 2 RBIs, but he's also struggling this spring, batting 190 and 21 at bats with only 1 double and 1 home run. So those guys right there seem to be struggling, even though they had decent numbers. And like I said, Cronenworth doesn't have enough bats for what I will take into, but there wasn't enough stats to where I had to at least bring up some if they were there. If you haven't already, and you see the logo next to me, ooh, I don't know how close this is, but yeah, there, right there, guys. Prizepicks, okay? Pub Sports gave us this show because it's sponsored by Prizepicks. Use the promo code Pub Sports, up to $100 match bonus, up to $100. So just come on, Pub Sports, get a free $100 bonus. Roll that bonus over into some real money, guys, and smack them. So at the end of every show, I'm going to give you my favorite play of the day. And we're going to keep track of that favorite play. You can either tail it, fade it, hook it to whatever you want on Prizepicks, or bet it as a legit prop if it's out there as a prop, because sometimes I will do fantasy score. This day, the day of the prop junkie, the Dirty K himself, we're going to go, guys, to Hugh Darvish. And it's going to take some balls right here after I just read you the numbers from those Arizona Cardinals. But I've got to trust the newspaper reports I've read from my guy Noli, because he be shooting me them newspaper reports. And guess what, guys? His mechanics are changed. His ERA is down. His strikeouts are where they should be. I expect easy 7 strikeouts in 5 innings. Let's go, Hugh Darvish. Take us to the promised land. Boom. Thank